two sections are done. And again, you still have the employee benefits down below that are calculated based on the wages. And this is your principal and interest payments that you'll be making for the year, $286,000 and change right here. And this is the capital, $128,500, which we'll go through with Chris. I don't know. Where is he?
He's right there.
Chris. Are they talking to him? The hot seat over there with the microphone. I want to get you on record. Okay, so we're going to go to purification. That's the area that we're looking at. Go down to distribution. Okay. Water purchased. That's just an emergency purchase from Dunkirk. We always carry something in there. You know where we are, Kara?
No.
Okay, the water fund?
Yeah.
The expense or the appropriation amount? Probably on page 1 under purification.
Okay, I got you.
Got it?
Yep, thank you.
The water purchased, again, that's emergency water if we need to turn on the spigot between the village and the city over on Millard Fillmore. And then supplies, testing and chemical costs are in the supplies. Have a look at that. What kind of supplies? Riverside Chemicals, Jones Chemicals, Slack Chemicals, Applied Specialties. I don't know. That's about it in there. So is that mostly chemicals, Chris?
Yeah, those are the daily coagulants and stuff like that that are used to treat the water
in the
every day.
treating.
So, I mean,
Okay.
similar prices to the last year.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing really different there. The
Okay.
testing went up a little. Is that with the Giardia testing, Rick? Or that?
What's that, Chris?
Is that the Giardia and the cryptosporidium testing that they added last year or middle of last year?
I don't know if that's in there. Is it? I mean,
think so, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I went
Okay.
up a little.
Yeah, we did. But we did hit that with the 90%.
Right, yeah.
Because it was originally, he had in there 55. Is that going to cut you
Is that gonna be
short in
okay?
there?
Because we cut about 10%.
We cut 10% out of that line, Chris.
That
After
was,
you walk out the door, we just hack away.
Yeah, I know. So that's the 49.5?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's how we
Yeah.
got to the 49.5. No rhyme or reason. It was just like a 90% cut in that line, or a 10% cut in
10%
that line.
cut, yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I know the numbers that I had were pretty tight, but we did save a little money on the Giardia. It was a little under what I originally thought it was going to be with the first estimate, but 10%, I don't know, but I know it's probably at least 5 or 6% cheaper than I originally estimated. I think that's what we were discussing back when we met before on this.
Okay.
So you think it's going to be enough now?
If the health department doesn't require something additionally, if something does happen, you know, if we have an excursion or something in a month to report or whatever, sometimes they require additional monitoring, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty tight.
95% would give you 52,250, which would be a cut of
Is that better?
$2,750.
Okay.
You better there?
Yeah.
You guys better there?
Oh yeah, that would be,
That better? So we only cut 5% out of that line. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, clothing allowance, we've already discussed that ad nauseum. Utilities are obvious. National Grid, National Fuel, Internet and Phone, ADT Security, and Verizon Wireless. And that looks like it's probably in line with what we're running at,
Mhm.
27,000 approximately. So.
Chris, with National Fuel,
Like you're burning your own methane, would that cut down on quite a bit more, or is that,
If we were,
are you currently somewhat?
no.
Oh, I
He
thought,
doesn't generate methane.
It doesn't generate
that's only
anything.
the wastewater.
That's waste.
sorry,
Yeah, all right.
that would be Betsy, yes.
Yeah, that would have been Betsy.
I apologize, wrong department.
Travel training, we have 750 in there. Is that,
Yeah, we cut it from a little bit. We haven't used much over the last couple of years, but the guys are right up to speed. They just we just had, well, 3 out of 4 of us just recertified, so we're not going to do too much travel and training this year. None of
I mean,
that.
the last 2 years, you didn't do much. So.
Yeah,
and a lot of
And
the
that-
stuff they go to is local, right?
yeah. I mean, when you originally set that up for 1,000 a few years back, there wasn't the opportunities there are now. The health department's been offering free training and
Right, right.
cooperative stuff through the Rural Water Association at the colleges and things like that, so, and local too, so that kinda got cut down, but, so that's definitely enough.
Okay, and then we get into the contractual. That's everything from dumpster rental to DFT Security's been taking. We still have something from DFT?
Yeah, we have the fire protection and
Okay.
the motion sensors and things like that.
Okay,
ADT, we basically just have the cameras around the facility and in conjunction with the cameras on the SCADA system. So it's kind of operations.
okay. And then the other thing in there is Chris, we hired him on a contractual basis through his company. So that's what makes up that line there. Okay, you can see back here at the full year, we were 66.
Some out of there, or do you think, is it the highest point of it, 66 something?
Well, we're at 63.
I would think that just kind of depends on different projects. I mean, I've been here a few years now, and I kind of work anywhere from 20 to 30 hours a week. And if we had some projects like some of the stuff that's coming up here, Rick's going to talk about, it's going to be a little bit more time me being around.
I said,
You know what I mean? So I don't really have a close estimate to it, but and then again, you know, barring any personnel issues and payroll and all that other stuff that just pop up, you know, I can not be there as much as often. You know, I mean,
with the amount of projects, I think it's probably safe to keep that in.
Well, we could look at the projects and then you guys could
yeah, that's fine.
think of it in relationship. You'll see there are quite a few projects,
No,
different
no.
projects that are, you know, so we want to make sure that we have enough time in there for him to research those projects. But we'll take a look at the projects and then you guys make a decision on how you want to attack that. Okay, and then the fees are quality monitoring, which is your testing, your speedies permit, and just about $1,700 in miscellaneous stuff. So you were at about 19 here, 17 here. Is there anything new in there, Chris, that you can think of? Quality monitoring would be your testing, but you do have that, what do you call it? Sporidium?
Well, that was the only thing that was added to last year, and then since we had pretty decent lead numbers, we don't have to do it as many samples as we did over the last couple of years lately, since our ortho project went through, and that's been working pretty well.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, there's a decrease there, but other than that, there's still the same old regulatory samples you gotta have each year. They'll give you a calendar listed with, you know, different times of year where you gotta grab different parameters.
Samples,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
And now all the municipalities have, it's not just specifically, they're picking on us or anything like that. Every municipality, every water plant has to deal with it, you know, it's part of the budget that's, if you wanna sell water, these are the things you gotta check for, you know.
Yeah. Okay. And we got gasoline. I think we could probably knock it back down.
We actually, yeah, I mean, we don't have the vehicle anymore, we kinda let it go to the streets department there, so.
Oh,
and
okay.
we don't really have any need for it, I mean,
Okay.
so,
So
I
how
mean,
much
just-
So we can eliminate it.
just whatever lawnmower gas we use would be about it. And does that include fuel for the generator too, diesel every once in a while?
Yeah, that would.
We don't use much of that either, but if there was an emergency, it might have to have more.
We lose I don't know, what do you want to use?
250?
Yeah, you could lower it, like I said, a little bit, every little cut there help.
4 or 500 maybe,
Say 500?
just to be safe. and
Okay.
500.
Yeah, most of it was from the gasoline from the trucks, so I mean,
So we, what, they use 231, so what are we doing with it? How much?
I just knocked it down to 500.
500?
Okay. And then we have maintenance of equipment. And you can see where we were this year.
Ooh,
That was the clean out of that,
plus
That was
the,
of the
big thing.
sump well.
plus the Siemens, the SCADA at that Rotork
Uh-huh.
unit, it was like 20 grand, yeah.
Yeah,
That was something that was,
so those are huge
Ancient.
hits. That's the
Well,
thing, that's the
so-
thing that can come through and do a number on your budget. You know, so you'll see there's budget transfers in the budget transfers you're approving tonight to take care of that overage in there. Okay? Not much we could have done about that. I mean, there was, what, 15 years or more worth of sludge in that pit?
all that, yeah, yeah.
It's a lot. So we're back down to more normal level
mhm.
here. You know, that your service contracts are in there.
Right.
I know you have service contracts on chlorinators and
On the,
SCADA.
on the most important equipment, yeah, I mean, there's, some of that's pretty technical. SCADA system, the computer, operating systems that are down there for the valves and then the automatics, when we put it in automatic mode for a shift or two there, that runs the plant pretty good, so I mean, if there's a glitch, none of us are able to handle that, you know, it takes a computer guy and a technician and
Mm-hmm.
the pros.
Yeah. Okay.
And Siemens has been with us before I got there.
I was gonna say, yeah, forever.
They
They've
designed
been
the
there since
system,
I've been
they've
here.
been with it, and so we're kind of locked in with them.
Yeah. And then that's it for all of his lines, and then we'll go to his capital. Again, there's $128,000 worth of capital that will be from local funds, meaning that it'll hit your budget immediately. Okay, so we already covered the meters with Perry, that's all related to his stuff. We covered the road reconstruction with Perry, the hydrant and valve replacement with Perry. The hydrant and valve, there was $20,000 already appropriated in this year's budget, so we don't have to appropriate any more in there. If he wants to use it this year, he can use it. If he wants to use it next year, it's gonna be there for him to use. Okay? I forget how many hydrants he said were, but he said quite a few hydrants needed. Yeah, there were quite a few, so. The generator at Webster Tank, Is that yours, Chris, or did we already discuss that? I know that was on the hit list of the county, right?
That's been on there for a few years, and I've never dealt with it really, but I was with past DPW folks there. I don't know where the estimate came from. I think it was from the.
Yeah, I think Jack had given me that estimate back maybe last year and the year before, because that's been on there for quite a number of years.
I know he did some upgrades on some of the pumping and stuff up there, so it seems a little high. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not sure if a nice sized household generator wouldn't run it, truthfully.
yeah.
Then again, I'm
And
not.
I think what this was a natural gas one.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't want to have to go up there and be putting gas in the tank to run the thing. So
Yeah.
they just figured, we should have a natural gas. I think that's why that number is so high.
Yeah, but you can get those, like Chris is talking about, household one that are propane, natural gas, right?
Yeah,
What are you
they're
talking
like-
about there?
yeah.
That Generac for
Right.
5,500 or 7,000.
I would think would work. Yeah.
So that could
I
be
don't know what
knocked.
I'm not an expert at that. I don't know what kind of pumps you
Yeah,
got to
there's not
run.
much up there. I mean, truthfully.
Wouldn't one of those Generacs, or
Yeah.
$5,000, $7,000 maybe? And you could run it off of, well, several different things. I think they make them where you can do diesel.
Yeah.
So is
Natural gas.
45.5
I'm sorry?
instead of 45.5?
Absolutely,
Oh,
yeah.
that-
Is that the kind that they use for a house?
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to put one on your house?
Yeah, Chris said that should probably take care of the pumps, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure the power needs exactly up there, but I'm sure, I mean, geez, you can run a whole house and
So we're
business
somewhere
on it.
between 5 and 10,000, we could probably get it done,
more
and
likely,
compared to 45. huh?
Well, 10,
Hmm?
I would think, absolutely.
Yeah, let's do 10.
And that would be pad and everything, I would think.
That's right, yeah.
It's
And
something
remember,
that-
and
it's something that's kind of low on
just
the
so
hit
that
list
you
for
know,
us.
I mean, it might be 10 for your household, but this is prevailing wage. So any projects you can,
He said it's low on the totem pole though, so if we go 10,
Yeah, I mean,
and it's,
truthfully, if we get to all these things and we get to that this year, I mean, wow, that'd be great.
I mean, if
but-
you wanted to, my opinion, if you're thinking 10, you want to probably bump that to 15 with
15.
prevailing wage. Because anybody that touches it, I mean, those wages are through the roof.
Still a big-
The guys that were cleaning the pits were making almost $60 an hour.
you think we can get away with it one more year without it, you're saying?
Well, I hate to say that because the health department's been on us to get one for a long time. I mean,
Okay.
even before my time, but like you say, I mean,
Who's on that list?
No, 15 still,
You want to go 15?
Yep.
Everybody okay with that?
Okay.
I'll do some more research into it here and look into it.
Okay.
Talk to a few of those guys and get a few companies up there to spec it. And then
yeah, I don't know if that's enforced, though, it runs that whole,
give me a
home
chance.
in the house.
Someplace to start, you know, with a consultant on that or whatever, and then they'll come right out.
Okay, and then,
Oh, yeah, I mean, I know it's,
okay. Is there gas up there, Chris? Is there natural gas there?
I don't think so.
A gas line?
Oh, yeah, we've got gas.
There's a
naturally,
gas
but
line
Not
in
the
there?
village owned or anything like that, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And then we got the 24-inch clear well main repair. That we've talked about a number of times.
yeah.
The pipe is exposed going down the embankment. And we need to get that fixed. That is a critical item.
That's what you showed me.
I've showed a few, yeah, I mean, it hasn't gotten any worse this year, but I mean, if it was covered up, it would certainly, lessen the chance of something cracking it or putting a hole in it, and then we got a mess, you know?
And that was just a ballpark that was thrown at us by a
Yeah,
local
they're-
contractor, so. you know.
I'm not a geologist or, you know, an engineer where it comes to something like that. I mean, there's such an incline there, and they have to put some, you know, structural stuff to hold up the bank and all the fill and everything, 'cause I mean, it's like a 90-degree angle off of there, and so we had Steve St. George up there when Jack was still around. Brought him up there, and he said it can be done, but he didn't really have a firm number, and they say it's an issue. It's just one of those things we're crossing our fingers on up there. There might be something, in the meantime we could do, just put some fill in or whatever, or even some steel boards, steel cage over the top or something like that, just over where it's exposed. It's hard to talk about. You gotta see it, I mean, it's like, it used to be under the gravel and stuff, and over the years, Mother Nature and a few operational instances where the clear wall overflows and things like that happens, those incidences have decreased 100-fold in the last couple of years, so, but it's still sitting there on a little exposed, so. That was always the number we threw around, 75,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little crazy.
I think at one point it was like 50, and then
50,
it
I
got
think,
bumped
yeah.
to 75.
Yeah.
The next two already have monies appropriated in this year's budget, so you don't have to do anything with. That money is there.
Yeah, I see
$800 for the gate at the
Yeah.
reservoir, and $3,000 for the covers and vents on the clear wall.
Yeah. Those were things that the health department wanted us to fix too, so they're on the list that they sent us.
And then our friend, the spillway and dam improvements, that's the number that O'Brien and Gear had estimated the project to be. So we're sticking it in there. Which I gotta kinda give them a nudge as to where we sit with that, because we do wanna have a shovel-ready project when the funding comes through. We wanna make sure that we're applying for that money, any kind of grants.
Was that pretty much a sure thing? I mean,
There's $1 billion in the governor's budget, from what I understand.
the governor,
That's
the
the
federal,
one.
The governor's budget has $1 billion,
More
the
than
federal
that.
has $1 trillion. Well, they're looking at $1 trillion.
The state has 2.5 billion.
2.5 what?
Billion,
Billion?
yeah.
Oh, I thought it was in the paper, billion yesterday, but I read the Observer.
They say 2.5 billion for.
so they're on
for
to these different grants and keeping an eye on when they're ready to go. Okay, good.
We have to have a shovel-ready project. That's the critical item. It's not necessarily them being able to tap in. They know how to do that. It's having
And
a
it's-
shovel-ready project.
What
The
do we,
way I understand it, even without the grant, this has to be done.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
Yeah, we don't have a choice. This has to be done. Like, it would be good to have a grant, it would be great in any amount to help us,
oh, absolutely.
but it's something that, if something happened to that dam, we're gonna have a catastrophe here, so.
What do we need to do to make it shovel-ready, as you're saying? I mean,
Have everything ready,
paperwork-wise, you mean?
everything ready.
all this
Design, engineered,
design.
everything done. Ready as soon as they say you got the money,
And how far away are we from that? Quite a
quite a
way.
ways. That's why I said I gotta give them a nudge. Because as far as they've gotten was the estimation of the project. They haven't moved to the next phase, as far as I know, which is to actually get up there and
Design it.
design and engineer the project, and drawings, and put together bid specs and all of that kind of stuff, and then have that ready to pull the trigger on. As soon as money comes available, you apply, they get you the money, and you just pull the trigger and go out to bid.
This is what they said they would do for us, so, yeah.
Find out.
Yeah.
Let's get them on it now.
Yeah.
This is the best.
Yeah, this is
The
important.
best opportunity I've seen in a long time for this.
Yeah.
Get this money from the state and the federal,
Yeah,
but,
But this money is not for them, for
No,
them
it's not
and
for the dam
Spillway.
itself, no,
It's
it's
not
for
gonna
the-
help to that. It's gonna help us, for the problem we have at Carroll Avenue with the colored water and the wastewater treatment plant, all this design we talked about before. For the dam, if we can find something that's gonna be only federal, It's not gonna be through the state,
Well,
as I
there is the
understand.
federal
Yeah,
grant.
It's a federal program. They're working on it.
So that year one, the planning phase, Rick, and then you go to year two, the design and permitting phase, and then construction phase. This 5,300,000, are we to be shovel ready? We're not talking about expending all that, correct?
No, this is complete build out.
Yeah.
This is after we build it.
Yeah, this
So,
is the
but
build
once
out.
we get into it and we're to get shovel ready to do these, the planning phase and whatnot, the money being spent there, if they go through with this from the federal government, we don't get that back. But as far as the construction phase money, there's a possibility that,
Right.
That's right.
so
Right.
we're not gonna be putting that amount up right away. That could be the third year if we didn't
Oh,
get the
absolutely.
funds.
That's what I mean. Yeah, absolutely.
And
By
then
the
the
time you
rates
have
could
all of
go
the,
and level back down, correct?
yeah, by the time you have all your ducks in a row, it could take you 3 years before you get there. Yeah. But you need to get to that phase where
Yeah.
you do have it on the shelves and ready to pull the trigger on. That's one of the most important things. That's what they want to know, because the first thing out of the box is, show us your project, which means show us all the bids, all of the drawings and everything else of what you're going to be doing, and then they take a look at that and they say, this is a project that we would do, and this is how much we're willing to give you to do it.
And O'Brien and Gear already presented us with that study, and there were a couple of different designs, so we just would have to say, that's the one we want, and I think we pretty much have decided on what the design, so I think we've got the first phase there, but I agree. Every time we talk with Mike or see him at a meeting, when we just saw him in December, he assured us, oh yeah, that would be part of the project, working for it, they would look for the grants for us, and
They did say that.
here we are.
But these are two
Yeah.
different things. I mean, they should start putting everything
Yeah,
together. They should
I
start
agree.
designing and looking. It's
If
not.
if you remember, there were 2 phases to that study that Mark has got in his hands. I think that's what you have, right, Mark?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
original study. And what we did initially, we passed a resolution doing the whole project, which was that plus the next phase. And then O'Brien and Gear said, well, you don't have to do that. Let's just do the first phase before we do the second phase. So that thing cost us $140,000, and I believe the other portion is maybe like another 160 or more, maybe 180, somewhere around that time frame, because it was, or that amount, it was like $320,000 report that they were going to be.
So the 160 that it's on top of the amount we paid, it's for actual engineering
Correct.
studies, design, so it's, and then it's shovel ready.
Yes.
Okay.
Because, and then what they would do with the design is now they would build the bid specs. In other
Yes.
words, they would say to contractors, they specify every item that's needed to complete the job, and they would give them the specifications for that, and then they get those out to people that do that kind of work, and then they come back with bids. And then those bids are reviewed by the engineer. The engineer would say, the low bidder is company X. They have the capability to do that. Their financial structure is sound. We're recommending that you go with company X. And that's how that whole thing unwinds. It just unwinds that way.
Rick, would this be the line right there? Right there.
What is that?
I'm sorry.
What are we looking at?
That's your 5.3 million project for
Right.
engineering. What's that?
Yeah,
total?
engineering is, yeah,
So
usually
it's
around 15%.
So 600.
Yeah. Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, that's it.
Okay? All right. The sludgers, Chris, you want to talk about that? A and B maintenance, rehab, cleaning,
45,000.
45,000?
That was, there's not many companies out there that do this kind of work. The desludgers are the way that we manage the waste that basically comes from the reservoir that we take out of the water through the filtration process, and it builds up in the tanks. And there's automated processes over the years that have rotted and are not working anymore, so we're doing a lot of that manually. So, we've actually, that 45,000 now, that was from a couple years back too. We've actually changed out a couple of the valves that needed work, and that was $5,000, I think.
Okay.
So you could probably subtract 5 from that. I was just going through that the other day. I probably should have mentioned that when we met the first time, but, because that part of it's done. Next, it's just contractors coming in and having all our ducks in a row to lower basically run the plant at half capacity, which means we need to have some ability to have an emergency source of water, like at the Vineyard pump station. I'm not sure of the status of that, but there's 3 or 4 things we need to have in line in order to do that job. So it's just been there for a few years now, and we've done a few of the things. We had the hydrant fixed up there so we can actually have a water source to get in there and clean it when we can get in there with a fire hose. But so it all depends on it's virtual unknown too. It's from the unit is from 1939. So and it hasn't been dropped since 66 or 1967 or something like that. So nobody remembers how that job went or who the companies were or whatever. But the company that it's built, Rex Chain Build, is no longer, they're gone. We have drawings, we have all the manuals. We're just figuring we can get a few real good contractors that can fix things, you know, that they're gonna look at the drawings and say, all right, you know, basically be their own Rex Chain Build guys, the new guys, and learn it. So it's kind of the cost could be a little less, hopefully not anymore, you know. But
You know, and Chris brings up a good item here, is something that we don't have in here, is the Millard Fillmore pump station needs some work.
Yeah.
It needs some work, so we're gonna need to put some money in here. I don't know how much, I have no idea, and he doesn't understand what, we're gonna
Well,
need to
I'm
get
not-
somebody in there to take a look
yeah,
at
you need a
that, to get it up
distribution
and
guy
running,
for that, yeah.
so that we could do that maintenance that he's talking about. But it's not in here at all, and again, I mean, what we could do is we could put it in there at maybe, you know, another $40,000 or something, and put it as part of the additional financing that you would go out to finance here for the desludgers. So you would have an $80,000 item that would include rehabbing that line, or that pump house over there, to make sure everything is working right, because he can't go to one reactor over there without having that at the ready.
Not more than a day and a half, 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
But it
that's
still needs to be at the
estimating.
ready. It needs to, you know, because if something happens and we need water from Dunkirk, we need to be able to flip a switch and turn it on.
Do you think it's
No.
40,000 to rehab that?
I have no idea.
we-
I wouldn't even know if it was 400,000. I don't know. I'm just saying we could stick a placeholder in here for 40.
Right.
It really doesn't matter what it comes in at, because you're gonna go to finance on it anyway, so it's not gonna affect your budget one way or the other this year. But it has to be fixed.
Is that the pumping station to the right
Mhm.
of the traffic light?
Yes.
By the tracks.
Going east.
Across from Cat County Bank there, yeah.
Okay. And then on that little pumping station that's over there on the left-hand side under the thruway bypass, the thruway overpass, that's Dunkirk that has to maintain that
On Main
one.
Street, yeah. The one on that's Main Street there, Main Street
Right,
Extension,
okay.
yeah. But that,
Mm.
There you go, fellas.
a few years back when we did use it, there was issues. There wasn't enough pressure and things
Yeah,
to
I know.
run all the businesses on Vineyard Drive, and I think Kmart was still around when it happened last time we used it, but for some reason that rings a
Yeah.
bell, but that was a little before my time, but, you know, our distribution guy here had been working on it, so I can't really update you on how or what the heck's going on.
I was gonna say, do we know how the pumping goes when it comes up from Dunkirk? I mean, is there also issues there
There is.
that may attribute, that interferes with our pumping?
There has to be cooperation with Dunkirk at the time to
Okay.
make sure that they have all the water in their tanks and their operation of staff on, no, everybody's out for vacation or something like that. If there is an issue, their water maintenance guys, if they
Okay.
start springing leaks around town or, so I mean, it's a coordinated effort that has to be done when we do this project. And like I said, nobody's coordinating it right now, that's about what's going on.
Yeah, that's a concern.
Yeah.
So maybe we really need to, this has been, as I keep saying, I've been sitting here for 4 years and we talk about it every year.
Yeah.
That has to be fixed.
It does have to be
It
fixed.
has to be addressed.
Rick,
Mm-hmm.
on this last
Right.
study here, here's the total, I think,
I'm sorry?
the total, the last study, it was right there. To do the North Fillmore water main and rehab that, it was 108.
Modify station at Webster Road tank.
Whole new line and stuff, isn't it? That one, yeah.
108, is that
Oh, I'm reading the wrong one.
Got diagrams in.
North Fillmore, the main, and the pump?
I think that's it, yeah.
So they were saying 108, that was their estimate.
Right, you know, you have a study with it, yeah, that was
Replace
reading that at
transmission
home.
main. That's replacing the whole transmission main. All we wanna do right now is get the
Pumps
the
going,
pumps
okay,
to be able to pump water from
Okay.
there. What they're saying here is return it to the 800 gallons a minute,
flow,
Right, that's
that,
what they want
that
to
we
return
can
to, yeah. So we
actually
have to-
get to, but right now we can't. So that's actually doing, an upgrade, like Chris said, there wasn't enough pressure coming through, cause the pipe chokes down over there and you need to replace the whole main.
What's that, only a 4 or 6 inch main over there, line?
Thank you.
Because we've talked about it increasing
Yeah.
it to like 8
Make
or
it bigger,
something.
yeah.
I think it's 6 and 8 is what Jack told us before.
I don't think it's that big. I
You
don't
don't
think,
think it's
because
that big?
remember
I
we,
think it's 4.
yeah,
Four?
it's
Yeah, I think it's somebody
smaller,
told us
so
it's
you
4.
really are,
I think Jack knows.
4, is that what it was?
should be to 6 or an 8 inch. Either way, we ought to put that in and address that.
That works. I mean,
Here you go.
remember, it's not a very long distance, it wasn't a very long distance.
much do you
to
wanna
have-
put
No,
in?
it's not, so
No.
I don't know why we haven't done it.
it'd be
Right.
by the Vineyard Drive, it's showing a 12,
Yeah.
no,
No,
Really drive is 12 and then it drops down.
drops down,
Yeah. Drops down to like
yeah, so,
let me show you where.
we're right, Vineyard Drive, right here, Vineyard Drive, and it's showing the water main going
Yeah,
up to
well,
it.
here it is, right here.
Yep.
And then
What do
there
you
on
wanna
the
put
other
in for a
side.
holder on that?
is there room
But
to,
it's not a
Fifty?
Doesn't
trouble.
show.
is there room to do that? I mean, we got, well, it's just a holding place, right, so, yeah.
Well,
It's gonna be
It's gonna be
financed, it's not
financed, so
gonna
it's not-
impact your budget this year.
Okay,
so it's going to
so
next
you,
year's
so what do you think?
So we're
Sure,
gonna
80.
put what, 40 in there?
I was
There's
gonna
about
put
50.
50.
Oh, 50?
I think 50 is
So put-
just,
Put
Yeah.
half of what's in there.
yeah, because he said one or
108,
something.
yeah.
So what line is that gonna go on?
You added a line there, Rick?
Adding,
Yeah, I did.
adding new line,
Okay.
right?
The original, the sludgers, you're going down to 40? Then
Yeah,
on
they
that?
went down to 40.
Okay,
And then this would be 50. Pumping. Station. Okay.
Okay. The filter beds, Chris?
Okay, that's, this money appropriated from last year too,
Right?
Yeah, we got 10,000 from last year and 28,000 in this year, so it's a total of 38,000.
Right, it was, company's Filter, they're out of Niagara Falls. And we basically, the filter media hasn't been changed in over 14 or 15 years now. And we have, anthracite filter media, and then there's a filter sand of a certain mesh that we use that's required in our filter beds. We've tried to experiment with other, we had some companies in to do some, try different things and show activated charcoal, stuff, things like that, and we don't have the capacity in our building itself to make the bed washes do what they have to do when you recirculate them. So we're stuck with the same old media. And, this company, Filter, pretty much handles the whole Northeast. And it's kind of like, these medias are like a commodity, the price goes up and down, and this was, when we quoted this, was, end of 16. And for the labor, and that's what costs a little bit of money, is the travel and the labor, the trucks come from Canada. And, it was 19,000.1 K each bed. So we were hoping we could do a couple this year and maybe a couple in a few years. You know, it's already been so long anyway, it'd be nice to, and I can say it would definitely, make the water sparkle a little more, and probably help with some of the taste and odor issues, which have actually decreased over the last few years anyway, but the stuff's old and it's not working like it should anymore. It would also assist with some of the extra solids that we end up having to clear out of our clear well every once in a while, because the filters would work better. You know, that bill comes around every once in a while for solids removal on that thing, so. We were hoping to get a couple of them done this year. We tried for last year, and it just kind of time slipped by here, and so it's still up on the board, and that's a firm price. Like I say, you put some money in for last year, so now you don't need the whole 40 in this year's budget, right? Or the whole 38?
Okay, yeah, you got 28 this year, 10 from last year, so you got 38 in there, so that's a good start.
Right. That should handle it. I mean, that'd be great.
You okay?
Yeah.
And I've heard anywhere from 4 to 6 years is your engineering chains out on those things, on that media. So, I mean, it's been overdue. Health department knows about it too. They, please do it, you know, that kind of thing. But,
Okay, the generator at the plant, we said it doesn't need the work to rehab it, so we
No.
pulled that. The replacement of and abandon the water main that's up on Main Street. We've already appropriated the money for that, $30,000, we just haven't spent it. That's one that we talked about with the street department.
okay. So
Your turbidity meters, your online turbidity meters at 36.
yeah, those are, the turbidimeters are what basically monitor the solids content that is going into the distribution system. And our whole SCADA system basically runs on that. When those numbers get up high, it turns certain valves to slow down the plant or increase it, and changes the dosages on the chemicals. So the ones that we have right now are outdated, and they don't make them anymore. They're obsolete. So we'd have to barter parts from other plants around the country. The HAC company, HACH, is the company that handles those. So we got one quote. It's a state contract price, and that's what it was. We need, was it 8 of them? 8 of them at 3,000. Which also we prepared for that with the SCADA system upgrade of the Rotork new bus modules we put in the big computer system up there. This new HOC system will be able to be implemented with our current SCADA system, so we don't need any more upgrade in the computer system to handle the new technology. So that was what,
36.
Like I say, it's just one of the, HOC is the leading, they're the gurus of this kind of equipment in the country, so I mean, and all our systems are HOC, so that was why I stayed with that. And you're looking at, it was 29.1 for the quote, and then we have a bill right now for an extra $3,500 I didn't get to you yet for that bus module that upgrades to this, that we needed to fix the SCADA system from Siemens, or by Siemens a couple months ago. So that was that can probably be lowered then, if that's the only thing on that line. There wasn't anything else on there, well, we were,
Not that I know of.
no.
Bring it down a little bit.
And, oh, there was, a little bit of plumbing. We had a quote from a plumber
Oh, that's right.
about the
Right,
new,
yep.
he was gonna replumb it all with PEX and stuff like that, make it nice and tight. And but it wasn't, it was only 35, I think, another 35, so. So you got 29, that must be where the 36 is all the way.
Okay.
So you could probably lower it to 33 and still be safe
Okay.
on that line.
Everybody okay with that? Ready,
But Rick, is that, now that's something, no, there's nothing appropriated for that from the last year.
No, there was nothing.
Okay, 33.
Okay. Then you got your upgrade to the pH monitoring of your raw intake. We got 2,500 left over from this year, and the 2,500 there will give you 5,000.
Yeah, that's a tight, pretty tight number, be fine.
Okay. And then the aerators at the Clearwell and Webster tank,
Yeah, those
we
are,
had 2,000 appropriated already and another 10,000, so $12,000 total.
those were a couple of aerators that O'Brien and Gear recommended to help us lower our disinfection byproducts of the chlorination process. They figured that that might help us along with the water age, basically, in the tanks. It's basically like an aerator in a fish tank, you know. Bubbles up through, helps to disperse the volatile organics that end up being made from the chlorination process. Our numbers have been decreasing because we've been in the operation mode that O'Brien and Gear recommended. We're raising and lowering the Webster tank and using it and keeping our chlorine numbers down, the residuals down. Have lowered our DBPs, so I mean, it's critical, but it's also kind of experimental. So I mean, if folks want to, I would say, well, yeah, I mean, don't get rid of it forever, but I mean, if our numbers happen to start climbing again, maybe you could say, oh boy, we might need those. Right now, as it's been, we've been okay the last couple quarters. They make us test it quarterly around the village, 6 different sites, so. Yeah, we could take that up there for now. And it was just a recommendation, you know, and it's a new technology, so even O'Brien and Gear was like, wow. At least we were doing something to it and towards the goal of achieving the lower numbers on there. So we're doing other operation things as well. So I mean, how much frosting you want on the cake there? We're in spec and everything's good and people don't have anything to worry about with it. So I mean, if you're looking for a decrease here or there, that's probably a safe one. You know?
So,
Exactly, yes.
So you want to take it?
yeah, as long as you think that
Big
we're,
amount.
It's a safe one, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
that's fine.
if we
for
start
now.
running into issues, which I don't foresee, but like I
Okay.
say, it was kind of an experimental thing.
The board want to take it?
Yeah. Sorry, me.
Think about it for next year.
Yeah,
Right.
Yes.
because we got some of the heavy things going.
There's a few projects here to handle in 1 year, so.
You said simply by raising and lowering the levels of the tank, that has helped a lot.
Yeah, we try and actually run through it every 3 days,
Okay.
you know, raise and lower it 3 days. And you start 1,000,000 gallons, so I mean, it's been safe doing that.
Okay, so.
We used to run it all different kind of modes over the years, what I've found out, but.
So by doing this,
It takes the operators being stealthy and aware of what they're doing, and that's,
well, that's what they're supposed to do, yes.
we've got, you know, every once in a while there's issues with human control, but
Good.
we're good with that, yeah, I mean, that's,
In the RPZs, they're already appropriated, so we can go ahead with that project. I know Chris was trying to find other contractors to do the work, he's striking out, so we're
Yeah.
just gonna pull the trigger on that.
it's a $4,500 project. It's something that the help, 4,500.
Isn't that 45,000?
No, the RPZ valves, the wash water on the bottom.
I got 45,000 appropriated, did I just put too many zeros?
Yeah.
4,500 is
that.
much better than 45,000.
It's not gonna affect your budget one way or the other.
Yeah, it's just a matter of,
So we appropriated 45 last year, we have
Yeah.
max on it.
Well, if we did, now I gotta check that.
Yeah.
and then we were gonna run the pump with that system for another, I've got quotes from 2,000 to 4,000, but that's kind of a different, we're gonna take that, separate that, we're talking about.
Yeah, but it's part of this
We can
project,
bid
so
that
we
out.
want that in that project.
Oh, it's
so.
still on the
But we'll
same
buy
line?
the pump separate then,
Okay.
have it, buy it through the contractor.
That was already all, the O'Brien and Gear that made the plans for it, did the drawings, it got approved through the health department, we're just waiting to do the job.
He tried to, how many?
Yeah,
Four guys or whatever, and there's nobody that wants to bid on it.
yeah.
There's one contractor that'll bid, so we might as well take the bid. Just document that we contacted these other contractors. But
Everybody, I mean, most of the other major companies are far away. That was the thing, it's travel and time, and everybody, there's mechanical contractors all over the country in the big cities. If there was one, one that can handle this,
Yeah.
well, there's one, but we know for sure,
Yeah.
but.
Okay, so that's it for water.
Well,
My excuse.
thank you.
Thank
I want to
you.
mention something about Chris. Chris is, I want to thank you very much for helping with the new, something we're trying to implement with high school students,
Oh, yeah.
to have some interns there. Because the thought was we should expose high school students to new career choices. So they can go to school for things that we need actually in the village. So we have them here where we need workers there. And as I understand it, you have 2 interns?
Yeah, if I could mention them, they're great kids. One lady named Sophie Thompson and another guy, Alex Laurie. Tom Koski, the operator at the plant during the day, him and I have take one each under our wing, and had Alex work a little with he's more into the technical aspect of and maintenance kind of
Right.
end of things. So he's taken a few things apart, saved us about $3,000 on a couple of lab equipment. I mean, there was a spider in one that was actually messing up our jar tester. I mean, he was going to look in that box and see the underneath the rotor on the variable speed drive and all that. But it's great. They're great kids, and Sophie's actually been dealing with the operations end, what they're interested in, over at the school. So anytime you want to hire her, she's ready.
Thank you very much
All
for
right,
your
well,
help.
thank you.
That's excellent.
All right, anytime.